What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers moved up to the 36th pick and drafted Adou Thiero, which begs the question, is Jared Vanderbilt on the move? Right? Because the Los Angeles Lakers are very active. I mean, we got reports literally during the draft that the Lakers are very active in talking to these teams about making trades and making moves. Right? You can make an argument that a trade's probably going to be made regardless, and it's going to involve wing depth. Right? Rui Hachimura is probably a guy. Jared Vanderbilt's probably a guy. But I want to talk about Jared Vanderbilt specifically because getting Thiero basically gives you a more athletic Jared Vanderbilt. Now, I don't know if he'll be as NBA elite defensively as Jared Vanderbilt, right? Like Jared Vanderbilt, when he's healthy and at his best, is arguably the best defensive player in all of basketball. I mean, the guy's like ridiculous, right? And is like a 3-point shot away from being the best 3-and-D guy in the league. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have that. Where Thiero, he's a guy that lacks the 3-point shooting. Not a great 3-point shooter coming out of college. I mean, Max Christie wasn't either, and you work with him. Right? He's younger, right? But he's a guy that's 6'8", versatile wing that can defend 1 through 5 because he has a 7-foot wingspan. Very comparable to a Jared Vanderbilt. He's actually a little bigger, got good weight, good size behind him, big, strong, physical, but he jump out of the gym. He has a 41-inch vert. The guy can literally jump out the gym. Right? So I look at him and I go, okay, is there room for both the Jared Vanderbilt and a Thiero? I mean, in theory, yes. I mean, putting both, if Thiero is as NBA ready defensively as he looked in college and as many believe he is, those two out there, good luck. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. Right? And Thiero is a really good offensive rebounder. He's a really good rebounder, period, because he's got the size, the length, and the athleticism, but he also has a really good nose for the basketball, right? Just like Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt, say what you want about him. Jared Vanderbilt's a very good defender, and he was excellent last year because it's just his effort, his motor, right? Thiero has a great motor. He's a guy that just is going to be relentless out there. You never question Jared Vanderbilt's effort, right? Thiero is another guy that you're just not going to question his effort. But I do have my concerns with, again, kind of too many one-dimensional guys, right? The lack of defense, but you have the offense, or lack of offense, but you have the defense, right? Where Thiero is kind of one of those guys. Now, if the Lakers are going to make multiple moves, right? Ayton or Nick Claxton or any of the names that I see floating around that many Laker fans want the Lakers to draft and get. It's very possible if they try to get both these. If they get an Andrew Wiggins and an Ayton, you have to trade Jared Vanderbilt because, again, like you have to match the salaries and stuff. And if they don't want to trade Austin Reeves, then you have to basically trade everyone else, right? So Thiero is a guy that could come in and be the Jared Vanderbilt replacement. I think, again, he could be the replacement for wing depth regardless, right? Because like I said, any trade that the Lakers make is likely going to involve Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, also Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Now, some might be asking why not Dorian Finney-Smith and you're talking about Jared Vanderbilt? Because I don't think Dorian Finney-Smith is actually going to leave. Right? I think even if he opts out, which I've talked about in the past, that I expected him to opt out and sign a new contract, right? I don't see him leaving. Again, I could be wrong. It happens. Been wrong before. It's very possible. But I don't see it. Right? He's on the Lakers. Lakers, I imagine, traded for him with the expectation and know of what kind of an idea of what was going to happen. And one of his best friends in Luka is on the team. Right? Like maybe if they didn't have Luka, I'd be like, yeah, I think there's a chance. I don't think he's leaving Luka again. Because both guys wanted to play together. Right? And again, Dorian Finney-Smith, JJ Redick loves Doe. I mean, you could tell by the amount that he played him and how often he played him, which was warranted. I mean, the guy was our best plus-minus guy for a reason. He's that vet. He plays great alongside Luka. He's going to have a full year, full training camp, full preseason. And the Lakers really need a guy like that. Like, the last thing I want them... Like, I'm okay if they lose Rui. I'm okay if they lose Jared Vanderbilt. I love both guys, right? In a perfect world, if you could have those two do the fusion dance and fuse into one, we'd have probably the best two-way guy in all of basketball, right? Unfortunately, you can't do that, right? Get the Bataro Arians, whatever, right? I wish that was a real thing. Unfortunately, it's not. And so, to me, it's like, I'm okay with losing those two. I'm not okay with losing Dorian Finney-Smith. Because Dorian Finney-Smith is one of those guys that just, again, he does all the dirty work. He does all the hustle plays. Like, Dorian Finney-Smith is the closest thing we have to Jared Vanderbilt and Rui Hachimura, fusing into one. Now, obviously, he's not the three-point shooter that Rui is, and I don't even think he's as, as elite defensively as like a Jared Vanderbilt is. But he's very good defensively, and he is good offensively, and he's a guy that just does everything well. Can defend all positions, literally, he's the only player in all of basketball that actually did, I don't remember the minutes off the top of my head, but I did a whole video about it earlier in the season when we traded for him, but he was the only guy that defended literally 1 through 5 all season long for an excess amount of minutes, right? So you talk about a guy that, and I'm not talking about like just switching, like, oh, he switched on a 5. I'm talking about, no, like legitimately matched up against 5s. He is the only guy that defended 1 through 5, like legitimately. We talk about guys all the time. They're like, oh, this guy can defend 1 through 5. Dorian Finney-Smith has proven he's one of those guys and was excellent in that regard. So I want to see the Lakers do everything they can to keep Doe. Right? Sign him to a longer term deal. All right, have him opt out. Because also it does, I don't even think he'll necessarily opt out because he wouldn't get that much. Like, the best he could do is a full mid-level exception, but most of the teams that can have access to that are like, bad teams. Right? There are a couple teams that could open it up. I think Houston's a team that has their full mid-level exception. Right? But, I look at that, like, but that is actually less, like slightly less than he would get just opting in. So I still don't, I know the report said he's considering it, but we'll see. It's one of those things, I'll believe it when I see. But Jarred Vanderbilt in particular, I think Thiero makes Vando replaceable now. Where it was hard to want to get off of a Jarred Vanderbilt because of what he does and all the things that he does and how well he does it when he's healthy, he's right, and he's focused. But now you got a guy in Thiero that I think does all those same things or can do all those same things. Obviously, Jarred Vanderbilt's proven at the NBA level where this guy has to prove himself. But I think Laker fans are going to fall in love with Thiero. I didn't think he was going to be there with the third. One, I didn't think the Lakers would be able to move up that high. Two, I didn't think the Lakers, even if they did get to 36, right? Because I did talk about them trading for the Nets 36 pick. Even if they did get to 36, I still didn't think Thiero was going to be there because, again, he was projected to go as high as the 15th pick and some draft boards. And as soon as he fell out of the first round, like the general consensus by all these experts, everything were like, hey, he's probably going to be the first or second pick in the second round. And I generally thought it was too, right? I thought this was a guy that was going to be that. And, he ended up, Lakers were able to get him. And I think it's a great pick. But genuinely, I think that this makes Jared Vanderbilt expendable now. I think if you're the Lakers, if you can get off of his money, right, and then go look to add, other pieces, especially if you can turn Jared Vanderbilt, because I do think there are a lot of teams that would like Jared Vanderbilt, and he's cheap over the next few years. So, I do think that there are teams that'd be like, we could do worse than Jared Vanderbilt. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Lets me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.